Hey y'all, this is Donna D, and uh, and I'm coming to you this afternoon from Difficult Research Channel, and I hope you won't be disappointed that it's me and not Pressure here, because we had this scheduled, and I'm not sure exactly what did happen, but I couldn't leave y'all hanging twice in one day. Sometimes whenever these things happen, as many of you well know, Crush is a caretaker for her husband. And so often she has to drop things and take care of them. I don't know what happened this time, but I feel sure that you all should not worry too much. I mean, more than we usually do about all of these things. But also, I wanted to, if anybody would like to come up and talk to, they can. I saw Joe Schmo was in the chat, or any of the people who would like to come up and talk with me, and we can talk a little bit, even though Crush is not here. I'm not sure what happened with the hearing. All these things are very emotional. While well, it seems like it's pretty cut and dry. It's about money, it's about this, it's about that. The very fact that they have to walk down the roads of all the things that happened again is very emotional. And so I'm glad y'all all came in. And like I said, it was sad this morning whenever, and I'm the one who messed it up. I tried to to reschedule the live, and instead I deleted the live without telling everybody. So it just deleted y'all. Y'all just went away, and I am so sorry for that happening. This is the link for coming up and being on the panel is in the chat. It was posted by me, Donna, but it says difficult research. And so we don't know yet what happened in the hearing this morning. But we do know, and this is something I had noticed myself, and I'm not sure if other people had, is that Chad had dropped that sixth letter. I read through it sort of, kind of. I don't think it's a dang thing. But the fact that they keep posting them is irritating enough. And so, like I said, I just wanted to come up and tell y'all, not leave y'all hanging out here wondering what in the world, what happened. I see somebody said no. Oh no, he did. So what is oh no, he did? Just call me Kim. Hey Deborah, Gloria Fitz, Dee Dee LaBelle, Deborah Owens, Denise Gray, Beach Bomb, Gloria, Carolina, Lamicia, Fancy Nancy, Cindy. Just call me Kim. Somebody somebody says, Betty Boop says, what happened to the docket? I'm not surely sure what happened to the docket. I went on one morning on X because he was on X, and somebody had said that he didn't have a YouTube channel anymore. So I went on X and I asked him what happened, and he said, I guess he broke some YouTube rule, and then he said, you better read all the rules. So I don't know exactly what he did, although someone in the chat said that he had shown, I don't even know what trial it was, but there was a piece of evidence that was a silicone torso, that was like a body that had no head or arms or legs, and he showed it. And so I'm guessing, I hope talking about it don't get you throwed, because I really don't know. But I did want to know, because I thought if it was something simple, we didn't want to fall off in it. And we have focused so much time. I noticed some of the people are like, I'm so tired of Lori. I don't want to talk about Lori anymore. it's true that we do get really, really tired of Lori and her voice and Chad's voice that just make me creep. We can't forget the victims. And so it's going to be brought up because we're not going to forget the victims, and we don't want to have to other people. And that's why Krisha has been honing in so much on SRA, try to say it like that, which is abuse of children in an unscriptural way. So I don't, Denise Gray, I do not know if the hearing was not live. The hearing was a Zoom meeting. And the only way that we will get to hear like a Zoom meeting hearing is if somebody in the hearing records it. And that can be news media or one of the people. But some hearings, they're not supposed to do that. I don't know which kind this was. I am certain that if this was a hearing, that probably Kay, I don't know this for a fact, but this is just what I'm thinking, that Kay and Larry and Brandon were there, remoted in from either a courthouse or their own home into the meeting. And so it wasn't live, it was a Zoom meeting. And so you can record a Zoom meeting, but it's not always legal to record a Zoom meeting. So we'll find out about it eventually, because eventually Kay will let Krisha know and we'll know about it. That way, even if the news media doesn't put it out, we have to be patient, because information that's given out or goes through the gossip line is often not always completely correct. And it can mess up real legal things. So we'll be patient for a little bit and wait and find out what happened with the restitution meeting. Also, another letter did drop, and I feel like Krisha will want to go over it herself, but I might read it anyway. Joe, don't you want to come up and talk with me? And talk with these chat folks? We all live in different states. I live in Mississippi all the way up the north. Krisha lives all the way in Louisiana, almost to the coast. Tracy's all the way back in Phoenix. Beach Bum's over there in another eastern southern state. And we got Libby Lou lives all the way in Canada. So it's not like we just run around and have cocktails together. We all have lives, and so we don't know all the details of each other's lives, as we shouldn't, and people should have privacy. Okay, Joe says he's got to get some headphones, and then he will come up. And Janelle, if you want to come up, anybody that wants to come up, because to say that I'm not prepared today would be silly, because I don't really prepare, and I'm going to be. DD LaBelle says she's going to duck out for a bit, and we'll check back. Okay, honey. Like I said, this is going to be more some talk and visiting rather than. Deborah Owens, what would you like to say? What would you like to talk about? You said you want to talk about something. I'm just trying to keep it light today, folks. I know we usually talk about something that's horrible that people don't want to talk about, but there's other stuff that is going on that probably we shouldn't talk about. So what is it that you would like to? She says she's in Phoenix. Well, golly, the next time we do some Phoenix stuff, we need to include you, Deborah Owen. I'm not trying to dox anybody's location out. After I went through all of where we live, I thought I'd just set up map for a serial killer, and that wouldn't be good. I'm going to put this link in the chat again, in case Joe can't find it. Well, Lord help me. Have I forgot how to do everything? Let's invite a guest. Copy. Let's see how we do here. There it goes. Janelle says, I think that Chad is continuing his pattern of writing letters because that's what he did on AVAL. I know it. And Janelle, he's not really saying anything. I mean, he's saying the same thing he said before. I don't know, Denise Gray, if the restitution hearing is Isabel. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Donna, how are you?
I'm doing good. I was, Krish had the thing set up for this morning, and then I'm not sure what happened, but I'm sure that it's, she's taking care of something important, I'm sure. And then I tried to reschedule it and deleted it, tried to redo it. And so we're just flying by the.
There's Kresha. 429. She was just waiting for me to come in. She's like, I'm just going to sit back and see who pops into chat.
Well, that'd be lovely. It's just that, well, we don't know what happened with the meeting, but if it was a Zoom meeting, the only people who could record it would be the people who were in it. And
yes,
so
exactly.
We may not,
yeah, I tried to join. I'm not going to lie. I tried to join, but you have to have a password, and like my 17 guesses at passwords didn't work.
Okay, so there you go. It was private. You could only go in if you knew a password. And so I don't know, who, and I'm sure it's not really any of our business anyway.
I think it's probably Kresh's business and the other.
Oh, Kresh's, but I'm talking about other than the family.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's just hard to look away from the train wreck that is Lower Horror.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's. Yes, I agree. It is train wreck. It's hard to look away from them. And I'll be like going through some true crime channels, and I'm dizzy with it. I don't even know what people are talking about. It's like there's so many different things going on at the same time that I can't entirely keep up.
I can't either. Like, I didn't even know when the status was because I haven't been watching the docket. When she was in trial, I literally watched the docket and checked it like every half hour, every single day. Every half hour I was checking the docket. And then once sentencing came around, then I was like, all right, I'm done with this for a while.
That's the way I was with Idaho. I knew where to get the paperwork from Idaho. And so I checked it multiple times a day. And I wasn't as comfortable with all the things from Arizona. But, okay. DJ Norman says that he caught a live stream. DJ Norman, I'm glad that you caught a live stream. I was thinking about you the other day. I saw another lady that is a numerologist or she, I don't really even understand what that means, but I bet you that DJ Norman would know what she was talking about. Yeah. The name of that channel, DJ Norman, is not about that. That's just what she does. Her name is Trisha Talks. And she's from the UK. But she does talk about numerology sometimes too. Lord. So
I did a search on YouTube and I cannot find anything except for this stream right here about the restitution hearing. So
right. And Ada K came in earlier when we were in the earlier this morning before I accidentally messed up the other one. And she had a live set up also, like we did. And so I was kind of watching her because I thought, well, now I'm going to see where she gets, where she's going with this. And hers disappeared. And she came in our chat and said that she called one of the stations that she thought would have covered it. And they said they forgot to ask for a pass or whatever. Whoever heard of it. It was Law and Crime or one of those things. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I just forgot I could have called the public information officer or emailed him because he recognizes me as media. He would have given it to me. Gosh darn it. I forgot about that. Is it too late now? Like, did they hold it at 9:30 this morning local time, whatever time, or did they postpone it till after
I don't
lunch?
know, but maybe you could ask that fella.
I will. I'm going to send him an email right now.
Okay.
But if DJ says that they caught a live stream earlier, then it sounds like it's already been held.
No.
No?
Let's see. Did she say she caught a live stream earlier?
Yeah, I caught a live stream. I'm not sure of what, if it was this hearing or not. DJ, we need answers.
Well, see, we had a live stream earlier, but we never got to the part of the hearing. So I was wondering if that was our live stream that she was talking about. That I'm looking.
All right, I gotta email him. And maybe if nobody broadcast it, maybe the FTR video is available. Shh, don't tell anybody. That's my scoop.
Nobody in this stream will know.
I've got to see the docket first, though, to know if that really took place today or not.
Okay. Well, I'm guessing that Cresha will have a live as soon as she finds out that those letters have dropped, and it was my intention to come over here and read the letters, but I just like her and just like the AI, I just like, oh, you mean I got to read his words?
It just gives me the creeps, like I can't even explain. He is so creepy.
I mean, so it's just like, when you're reading something, you kind of like get into the story. If you're reading a fiction thing and you're like, you're in the story with the people and stuff, and it is creepy to be reading something and thinking about all the things he did and how it's just like he has no memory of doing anything bad. He's like got a split.
I think he does. I think he's just professing his innocence. I don't think he's nearly as delusional as she is. That's just my personal opinion, allegedly. I think she really is delusional. I really think that she believes some of the religious stuff behind it, and I think he just wanted sex and money.
I was thinking this was a long time ago theory. I was thinking that he used this whole thing to regular get sex with women, to say he was married to them before and that whole thing. And with Lori, it worked so well till she believed it and it kept going. Now, I could be wrong about that because he's pretty creepy. I'm not without thinking he hadn't killed people before. But still, it was like he was putting the moves on her and it was all a farce and a joke, and she took it serious.
Yeah, and he wanted to be that famous author type of person, if you can count Julie Rowe as that type of people.
I guess that's a big fish in a small pond.
Exactly. Yep. And he got to enjoy that status in all of those little preparing the people meetings that they had, or his book tour, where I don't know the connection between the two. I think maybe he was a guest speaker at like preparing the people or whatever it was. I don't know the whole story and the whole history, but he got to be a big fish in a little pond, or a medium fish in a little pond when he got to take his books on tour.
People buying him, taking him out to eat and buying him hotels. And here his wife she probably hadn't been out to eat except for McDonald's in 2 or 3 years. I did read this one thing, just this one little thing put me off, and it's like, I know this guy is so. In his letter, he was saying that whenever, and this was in 93, and he was talking about how he was, if the text wouldn't fit. Okay, KJ, you can get in on this. Come on up. There's a link, KJ. Come, I think it.
Come join the party.
Come join the party. Okay.
Oh, that's you. That's you posting as difficult research.
Yeah.
I thought when I saw that earlier, thought Kresha might be jumping in, but that was.
I don't know that she's not, but sometimes when something happens with Jason, she's out of pocket and she doesn't answer us and stuff. Almost every time,
yeah.
she's.
I hope they're okay. I hope he's okay. I hope she's okay. I hope the kids are okay.
Well, the thing I'm thinking is whatever it is, Precious taking care of it.
Yep.
And Kay and Larry. And we know they're good at taking care of stuff. So I forgot what I was going to tell you now. It was like at the beginning.
Oh, you were talking last about Tammy only eating McDonald's while he was getting hotel rooms bought for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I want to knock him in the head over all that. Well,
maybe it might knock his head back into shape because it's a weird head shape right now.
I think they're both broken and cannot be fixed. That's my judgment on them too. and they don't want to be fixed. That's the biggest thing.
No, that's what these letters prove, that he is going to profess his innocence until his dying breath. And that's just disgusting for all of the survivors, that they have to see this lack of remorse, this lack of acknowledgement of their participation in horrible things. Hi, KJ.
I couldn't help. I was walking through the house and I had my Bluetooth on my Bose speaker and I was listening to you, and I just couldn't help it. You have a way about yourself there, Joe, there that I'll just have to say that I have to take my Tennessee hat off to you.
Well, I appreciate that. All my exes live in Texas, and therefore I reside in Tennessee.
Oh, they're a man after my own heart. Well, I'll tell you what, when it comes to this case and that damn asshole Chad Daybell, I don't know how you're so calm. You've got such a calming effect on your voice there. Mine, on the other hand, I am like a cat on a hot tin roof. You know what I'm saying?
It can be a struggle sometimes, and especially when I think about the kids, when I think about JJ and Tylee. I mean, obviously Charles and Timmy too, but God, I just through Crash, I fell in love with JJ, and I can't help but get really, really upset when I think about the way that he was dealt with at the end of his life. Way too soon, way too soon.
I think I can speak for most people, if not for all people on this channel, that we have a heart for the family. I sat in the backyard with Kay and Larry Woodcock, Cresha, Jason, and all them at Kay and Larry's home, and Larry told us stories about the trees in the backyard where JJ used to play on. And we had a crawfish bowl there, and they treated me with love. I never asked them a single question about anything that was going on. It was a day for their family when my husband and I came to visit them in Louisiana. And it was a turning point in my life to know I was able finally, especially being in the crime genre community, to, we all say, the victim's family members, but to be able to spend time with them and know how wonderful of a family that is, and to really just feel like they're extended family. And Wayne and I, my husband, we've invited them to Tennessee. It's an open invite. Want to always be there for them. I have been there, I believe, and somebody on here can tell me I'm wrong, but I've been consistently, whether through monetary or just support, I've always been there for Cresha because I know she has a larger message. And that's not for me to decide what that is, but she's a superstar in my eyes.
Yeah, she has turned something that would cause a lot of people to collapse and like really go into a deep dark hole. And I'm sure she has her days that are tougher than others, but she's turned that into, well, difficult research and into shedding the light into dark areas. And that is a huge contribution to society today, and especially to the religious, societies that we have going on in organizations. So I've always been amazed, and it was great to meet her and to hang out with her just on a casual level. Although, guess what we talked about when we hung out? Oh yeah, we talked about everything.
You'll have to excuse me. You'll have to excuse me for my ignorance, but what your channel? What all do you do on your channel? If you don't mind me asking, I apologize for putting you on the spot, but I'm just curious.
No, you're fine. So I'm just an everyday Joe Schmo with an interest in true crime, history, and mysteries. That's why I named my channel the way I did. But I started with the Delphi case, and I went to a few days of the trial and pretrial hearings in Delphi with Abby and Libby. And that's how my channel got started. But I ended up last winter going to go stay with my son outside of Phoenix in the East Valley, and ended up going to the first couple of hearings in December for her competency hearing and then her right to represent herself December 5th and 6th, and met Trace on the case, made amazing friends with Trace, stayed there, ended up staying there through, all of the trials. I went to every single day of trial, most of the pretrial hearings, and covering that and getting to know Megan, getting to know Tom Evans, getting to know Cresha, getting to know other true crime type of people who came to the trial. A lot of them came every single day. I think Trace only had to miss one day. So that was amazing hanging out with her, but the relationships are what I got out of that. But on my channel, so I kind of, this thing has like taken on a life of its own. When I was driving back after the June trial, after the verdict came in, before sentencing, I was driving back to Indiana from Arizona. I went through this little town in Oklahoma, and I just dug up this piece about this missing 16-year-old who was eventually found a week after she went missing, deceased alongside the road, and nobody was covering it. And so I started covering that. So it's kind of like investigative reporter type of thing, I think it's kind of turning into.
Well, have you do you have an opinion? Have you heard of the Austin Drummond case?
I have not.
It's out of Tennessee. He is facing the death penalty. He murdered 4 people that were basically family members of his girlfriend who's fixing to give birth to his child. So Austin Drummond, if you ever decide you want to go down that road, I know that Mr. Wayne and I would love to see you. We'd love to host you if you're ever in the area. I'm always got an open door, and
I love Tennessee.
Yeah, and I'd like to help with that too, KJ.
Would you?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on down to Tennessee. We have the resources to take care of you. In terms of lodging or anything that you would need. Come on. I mean, you only live one time in this life, and when you're passionate about something and you want something done, and my channel and the Rays, it's KJ and the Ray, it's justice through understanding. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I know what my definition is, but if I'm not learning something, can you not tell me, Joe, since you started down this road, that you haven't learned so much about life?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And so much about the judicial system, so much about human nature. I mean, like CrimeCon was not at all what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like a tourist event where people try and sell you t-shirts, and they do that. But there was also such a strong supportive community between survivors. So they had a lot of the guests on stage were survivors of crime, like the Delphi families were there. Like Colby Ryan was there. And I got to meet him and take a picture with him. And he was just an amazing person to meet in person. Completely different than you see on, and I'm not going to say completely different, but it's different meeting them in person than seeing them on your computer screen or your TV screen. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, when I was in college, I definitely studied media influence and all of that, and the pros and cons of that. And I just feel like that today, now more than ever, people look at are interested in the crime genre community because I believe it's as simple as we can't do nothing about all this evil ass shit that goes on in the world. Excuse me, Don, I'm sorry. We can handle it sometimes. And so if we can see something structured as man's law, the trial setting, the adjudication of cases, if you've got your motive in your mind in the right place, you absolutely can find some peace in knowing that even though it's not perfect, that there is justice. It might not be what for instance, I believe Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell needs to both be sitting on death row. But
Right. And that's the prosecutor's fault, because the prosecutor messed up on discovery. And so the judge punished them by taking away the death penalty for her.
Well, in my opinion, is I think they knew that they would have a problem in the penalty phase of a death penalty case with Lori. They knew that she had this 10-month competency thing. They knew she had all this stuff that was mitigating for her. And so they didn't want to go down that road. They wanted a slam dunk, basically. And I guess this goes back to, there are people that believe for the death penalty and people that don't. And OKJ isn't across the board for the death penalty, but I am in certain situations when it comes to murdering children. I believe that anyone who murders a child and that is proven in court, those people do not belong here on earth anymore, because the children belonged here on earth. The children were the most innocent. The children were the most in the kingdom of heaven. These are my faith, my beliefs. And so because they're not here, that these people should forfeit their life. But there are people that I love dearly on KJ and the Ray that are totally against the death penalty no matter what, and I respect and honor that. But I will say this: Lori is a malingering, faking woman. If she can represent herself in Arizona, then she sure as hell knew the difference between right and wrong according to the laws of Idaho. And my involvement in the crime genre community happened way before I got on a social media platform. The first case I ever got into was Jodi Arias, and to this day I say that woman should be sitting on death row. But those are my views, and I've learned throughout all of this, over 5 years of being on YouTube and social media, I have a non-monetized channel. I give of myself because there are people that I love dearly, and I want to I've asked for nothing, just for people to take into consideration what I've got to say, because I am there to take into consideration what they're saying to me. And that is that Lori deserves to be on death row just as much as I believe Jodi Arias needs to be on death row. But again, I've learned that everyone has a different perspective, a different outlook. And Although it's might be considered a catchphrase, I believe it with all my heart. You, Joe, are the only you're ever going to be. I mean, if you decide you want to act like somebody else, that's your business. If you want, but I don't believe that. I'm just saying, you are an original. There's never going to be another one of you on the planet. Just as everyone in this group chat here, you
Exactly.
are absolutely unique, just as Donna is.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about that the other day, KJ, too, and that, uh, we think, well, that person doesn't believe like me or whatever. Well, you know what? Nobody does. There's nobody in nobody's family that you don't once in a while disagree on something. So nobody thinks like you. Absolutely nobody. If you went through stuff, got married, whoever you like, love, or whatever, you're still going to not agree. But just we agree on more things than we disagree on.
Well, even if we didn't, I mean, is to disagree with somebody to mean that you got to shut them out or that they're wrong? I don't think so, because I could be wrong and I could be shut out just as quickly as anybody else. So it really comes down to acceptance. It comes down to tolerance. It comes down to respect. It comes down to just common civility.
And, I used to be mainly against the death penalty, but after experiencing and looking through, just over these, what is it, 5 or 6 years, I believe exactly what you said. If the proof is absolute and it was kids, and this is another thing about the severity of things. Really, and I don't know this for a fact, but it seems to me that people get less time for child abuse than they do assault an adult, because they just let them in and out so fast. People who abuse children, they do not get enough time. I would like to see, I'm trying to get really into it, but I'd like to see child abusers and child pornographers get more time than they're getting. Because to be honest, I don't think they can be fixed either.
Joe, you say you've learned so much being in the crime genre community. Would you like to share with us what it's like for someone to be on death row?
I have no idea. I have
Well,
no
I'll tell
idea.
you what it's like. They get more. They're isolated from the general population. We all know that, but they do get. They have it better. There are actual lifers that do crimes in prison in order to be put on death row because they say they get it better on death row.
Well, there are studies out there, and this is probably going to be controversial among some people. And I'm just going to say I've seen studies that say that the death penalty is not a deterrent for somebody who is, for 99% of the population, it's not a deterrent from committing, from unaliving people.
To be honest, Lori and Chad should have wanted the death penalty so they could just get on to their next mission they got.
Right, their next dispensation.
Yeah, they could go on to whatever next world they're supposed to go to, but they don't really believe that shit anyway. And I'm going to say one more thing about the death penalty, and I'll quit. Is it really the death penalty if they don't ever do the death thing? Okay, I'm shutting up.
Enforcement is important, but we can close the door on the death penalty. All I know is, Joe, I appreciate you doing everything you can for Cresha. It hasn't gone unnoticed, and I really appreciate your insights, your perspective, the things that you add to all of this, and really think about it, Joe. Think about all the people in the comments who have added their perspective that I've looked at, whether it's on KJ and the Ray or here or any other channel, which I really don't follow many channels, but it really, it's not that a person has to embrace what someone else says in the comments. It's more about, hey, I've got to think about what this person just said in the comments and show them the respect they deserve. They deserve to be heard. Their voice needs to be heard. And whether or not I can embrace that, or whether it leads me down a better road of discovery on anything that I'm researching. And trust you me, KJ and the Ray stands for research, analysis, and you. And I'm telling you, people have educated me left and right in the comments. And I'm just so thankful for that. What do you think?
Yeah, social media interaction changed for me a little bit when I went to CrimeCon a couple of weekends ago, because you have this big auditorium full of thousands of people. I don't know. The main ballroom was where they held most of the sessions. I was there, I think, for like half a dozen of them in that room. 1,500 people at least, maybe 2,000. And they get this groupthink mentality that whoever is up on stage is a hero. And there were definitely some legitimate heroes up there, but there are also some people that I have questions about, like from the Delphi case, Nick McClellan and Jerry Holman. Nick McClellan was the prosecutor for the state. Jerry Holman was the investigator. He's the one that you see in that Read Technique video where he's interrogating Richard Allen after he gets arrested. The second interrogation, and just getting up in his face and yelling at him. And he said, well, you didn't get to see the whole interrogation video. You didn't see him raising his voice at me first. And but having said that, the audience applauded everything that they had to say about it. They applauded the arrest and conviction and incarceration of Richard Allen. And there are a lot of people that have legitimate questions about whether or not he alone was guilty, if he was involved at all. I have my own questions. I'm not convinced, after knowing a lot of the details of the case and going to a few days of the trial and pre-trial hearings. I'm not convinced one way or the other whether he's factually innocent or factually guilty. And if I was on that jury, I probably wouldn't have found him guilty. But when you're at CrimeCon, you get that group think where this audience of 1,500 people applauds everything that everybody on stage does. So it was a little nerve-wracking for me to get up there and ask them a little bit of a challenging question, because of that.
What was your question that you asked, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. Richard Allen, within weeks of getting arrested, instead of being detained in the county jail, which is what 99.999% of pretrial detainees where they're held, he was transferred to Westville State Prison and held in solitary confinement for more than 14 months, maybe even 16. And it was after several months in solitary confinement when his confessions started coming out. So he did confess 60 times, so there's that. But it was after several months in solitary confinement. And what's funny about that, so here's my question. You asked me, I went the long way around. I do that sometimes. So my question was, how many innocent pretrial detainees, and innocent being the presumption of innocence that all suspects are supposed to have, how many innocent pretrial detainees are held in state prison as opposed to county jail?
I see your point, but let me ask you this. What do you think of the jury system, though? Don't you have any confidence of a jury? If you can deduce this, if you can say this, and I don't know, I did not study the Delphi or anything like that, so I'm just asking you.
Well, there were things. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I said this from the very beginning. As soon as the jury had their verdict, I said, I will respect our judicial system, and the jury found him guilty, and that's what he's been found. So now he has an appeals process. But I was also there to see a lot of the evidence that the jury didn't get to see because Judge Gull denied any talk about third-party suspects. And there was evidence of it. But then at CrimeCon and spoken before in other press conferences, we investigated the third-party suspects and cleared them. I have my questions about the accuracy of that statement too, because I know a lot of the ins and outs of it, and It's just a mess. It's a mess. I was disappointed in the jury verdict, but I respect it.
Well, I guess this goes back to what some would consider probably your sentiment about the Karen Reed trial. Because there's a lot of people that don't like me because I think she was guilty, but I don't think she meant to kill him. I just think she got drunk and backed into his ass. And I mean, because of a shoddy investigation, I get it. I get it. You can't walk into a damn trial and not have your damn ducks in a row. I get it. But y'all, come on. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not convinced if she's factually innocent or factually guilty at this point in time either. And it's because of that crappy police investigation, because the same thing happened in Delphi. The only piece of evidence they had that they connected to, their expert connected to Richard Allen, was an unspent round that was laying between the girls. And they had their tool mark expert come in and testify that it was a match to his gun. I have questions about her testing procedure. And then Judge Gold wouldn't allow in their tool mark expert to counter her testimony. So
what was the reason for that? Why wouldn't they allow someone? Why wouldn't they allow the defense to rebut
I don't
that?
remember. I think because Nick McClelland challenged him as an expert in tool marks. I think it may have been a technicality.
And I guess this goes back to the power of the state and their resources to prosecute, huh?
Yeah. And
I mean,
and Carroll County doesn't have a lot of resources. So they relied mostly on Nick McClelland. They did hire, obviously, assistant or co-counsel.
perhaps the judge thought that through cross-examination of the state's expert that they could bring these things out, and that's why he didn't allow the expert. That's just an opinion. I don't know. Again, I'm just throwing this out here. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm sure you are top notch on this trial and everything. I'm just someone who doesn't know anything about it. Sometimes when I don't know, when you hear about these trials and stuff and you don't really get into specificity like I have with the Chad and Lori Daybell case, you hear about other trials and you don't get the specificity, then you're able to come up with something not that's valid, but a question that someone who does know all about it, or at least a lot of it, can give them room for thought there. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually a really good point. To come into it and with a fresh perspective and not be deeply entrenched in the case like I am is a really, really good point. And I have two more examples of that besides Delphi, and you not being fully familiar with Delphi. You can ask some relevant questions like, what about this and what about that? And then either I can answer them or I can't. But with Lori Daybell, when I lived in the Phoenix area for 7 months covering her trials, and I would go to the grocery store and I would start talking about the case, and people would like, what? Who's Lori Daybell? I'm like, really? You don't know about it? How can you not know about it? And then I would start talking about it. And I did today. I was getting my hair cut today, and I was talking to the gal that was cutting my hair about it. She's like, who's Lori Daybell? And I told her all about it. She's like, oh, I'm going to have to go check this out. And I'm going to go check out your channel. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, but it's like when people don't know about it, I think Donna said this several years back, I'm pretty sure, said that, to explain to people that don't know, it's so complicated and complex. It takes a little while to explain it all.
Yeah, and it is too. And Lori Daybell cases and Chad Daybell, it's complicated, but you can pretty much sum it up with just telling about the people that they unalived. But Delphi case is not nearly that simple to describe. And because we're talking about two teenage girls that were unalived, then a lot of people have strong feelings about it. I'm covering a case out of Oklahoma now. That's my fresh new case about a 16-year-old girl that disappeared, was found dead alongside the road. And it has so many layers. Like the family and the locals feel strongly that the cops may not have investigated as thoroughly as they should have. Go figure. Especially when she was missing before she was found. And now the OSBI is in it. And there are 2 male suspects that were last seen with her. I mean, you can't just describe it in 5 minutes. You can't describe all the subtle nuances in 5 minutes. But when I was at CrimeCon, I was talking to people about it, and every single person I talked to, like I talked to Gigi, I talked to Vinnie Politan, I talked to so many people about it. And like, oh my gosh, what is going on in Oklahoma? And I'm like, exactly. And nobody's covering it. Nobody is covering it.
Well,
I have.
Donna, where do we stand on this restitution hearing? Did I miss it or what? I just started hearing Joe when I turned on my Bose speaker on the channel and stuff. Do they have it or what?
Do you want to share
Joe,
that, Donna?
Okay.
Do we want to watch it or do we want to wait for Kresha? It's up to you guys.
We probably should wait for Kresha.
Yes.
Okay.
But can I
He
just
is so smart.
Yeah, can I just throw this in real quick?
Yes.
How restitution is determined in Arizona, do y'all mind?
Go ahead.
These are facts, case by case basis. The amount of restitution is unique to each case and depends on the nature and extent of the victim's losses. It also, court orders. A court can order a defendant to pay restitution for actual losses, such as stolen property, damages, or financial losses from fraud or embezzlement, which y'all know that's not applicable. But there is a victim compensation program. Victims can apply to the Arizona Attorney General's Victim Compensation Program for financial assistance to recover costs related to the crime. Now, this is what is covered in restitution: medical and dental expenses, mental health counseling, lost wages, funeral and burial costs, which I assume is a major deal there. Crime scene cleanup, emergency relocation expenses, and the full amount lost in economic crimes like fraud or embezzlement, which again is not applicable, but we need a full picture. The bottom line is this. This judge is going to absolutely, I believe, he's going to, what has been asked by Kay and Brandon. We're also talking about travel costs. We're talking about what they had to, deal with in terms of having to be at the trial, all of these things. Charles Vallow, Lori and Chad obviously took care of all the, Chad calling the freaking funeral home. I'm Chad Daybell, that stupid dumbass, wanting to, get his remains, his cremation remains, sent to Louisiana. It does not matter. The bottom line is that Kay and Brandon both deserve as much restitution as they deserve, and I'm sure they got, the receipts to show it. What do you think, Joe?
Well, he's obviously had to deal with Lori through months and months and months of torture. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much he's actually going to ever be able to repay, but just having that number out there for the victims, maybe some sort of satisfaction for them. I don't know. Kresha will be able to tell us.
I don't think it's satisfaction. I think it's monetary. And I
Right.
also want to say this, Joe, and this is something that I learned, and I'm going to share it with you. The court may order the return of property or money to a victim or to someone a victim chooses. The court may also order restitution to persons other than the victims of a convicted offense if agreed to in a plea agreement. Now, of course, that doesn't apply, but here's what I want to stress, y'all. Y'all listen up. If a victim dies, restitution may also be paid to the victim's estate. And God forbid that something happened to Larry or Kay, specifically Kay Woodcock. We don't want nothing. She's going to live a long life. But if Lori's got to pay 20%, which 20% is in Idaho, they don't stress the percentage in Arizona. I looked and looked, but it's 20% in Idaho. So it's got to be around the same amount. And if Lori has to, say Summer puts money on her account, or some crazy ass person who's in love with Lori because they're evil ass people put money on her account, a percentage of that will go toward restitution. This isn't going to happen overnight, and it could theoretically it could eventually go to Cresha K. Easton. Believe that or not, it says again, if something was to happen to Kay and she got a judgment on Lori, restitution may also be paid to a victim's estate. And Cresha is the daughter of Kay. And so I am here to tell y'all that wouldn't that be ironic as hell?
Yeah, Cresha and Todd both, right?
Yeah, Todd. Todd, exactly. You're right. You're right. Todd, I'm gonna tell you what'd you think of his victim impact statement in
I
Arizona?
loved it. I loved every second of it. He is a man of few words, but they meant a
Isn't he?
lot.
He's
And
got
then
a
when,
heart. He
yep.
has, I mean, I can't tell you how much I look up to him. But
And then
Cresha,
he
on the
could,
other hand, Cresha went for the jugular in a very calm, methodical. It wasn't out of malice or nothing. She just went for it. And
she brought the receipts.
Lori had to have been squirming in her chair.
I tell you, Lori was squirming in her chair more during Larry's because he's looking right down at her like the Wizard of Oz scene. He's like staring down at her. I am Oz,
Oh,
the great and powerful, and
I'm
you are an
telling you
evil
what, I'll never
murderess.
forget it as long as I live. And I've changed a lot since going through this, both Chad and Lori's trials. I've learned so much, and I've come to really learn a lot about humility and love and community and all, just so many things. Um, I've met so many wonderful people, especially Cresha and her family, but especially Donna and others, the Rays. I love the Rays. And, I've met such wonderful people. And I'm looking forward to hearing Cresha's comments on this restitution hearing. It's already taken place, Donna.
Somebody went and looked at it. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. It's 14 minutes long, so I wonder if they didn't postpone it for another day, because 14 minutes is not a long time for a hearing like that.
I would think that well, the state could present evidence without bringing Kay or anyone in. All they have to do is all Kay would have to do is what an affidavit.
Probably. And she's probably already got that done because Trina K is super organized and super intelligent. And she's probably like, all right, y'all got to have this for me.
Lori was pea green with envy with Trina K. That woman was top notch and beautiful to boot.
Yes,
I
was.
how is
Lori
Lori's
was
hair?
always Lori had to always be the most beautiful one. She always had to be the one. She'd take everyone out of her life if they didn't agree with the way she did things. And for Trina K. And Lori getting on Judge Boreski like she did, it's almost comical, is it not, Joe?
Yeah, and Megan actually did a couple of really good episodes about that, about how Judge Boreski dealt with a narcissist, of course, meaning Lori. But she took clips of that and showed that he did a really good job of dealing with her until that time when he's not going to have any more. And then when he wasn't going to have any more, he drew the line. He's like, get her out, get her out, get her out, get her out.
On KJ and the Ray, we did Donna Adelson, and Donna's come out with her appeals now. She says the judge just wanted it to be guilty. That's in her appeals. That Judge Everett for Donna Adelson's trial was the most even-keeled, monotone judge. He had no emotion whatsoever, just a stern voice the whole time. He gave them left and right everything they wanted in terms of, this and that. I mean, he made sure to throw in there so that an appeals court can say that he was biased or anything like that. Joe,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question, because this really I did my last live stream was on free speech, the free speech of Chad Daybell, and along with just talking about the First Amendment. And I just want to ask you, what is your opinion about jurors after trials are adjudicated that come out? I mean, we know Lori came out in her appeal that this juror did this, and the state appeal was denied and all that. Now you've got Donna Adelson saying jury misconduct because this young lady who sat on the jury was on TikTok afterwards. She did interviews and all of this and that. I think before the trial started, she says, I'm going to be on the Donna Adelson trial, but she gave nothing one way or the other about how she felt about it or anything like that. What is your opinion about the responsibility and the in terms of a jury member? What do you think about all that? Because it's going on and on this day and time.
Right. And their jury instructions are, when they're released from their jury duty, you can talk to anybody you want, but you don't have to talk to anybody you don't want to talk to. And it was a completely different study between trial 1 and trial 2 in Phoenix for Lori. And it's funny you mentioned that, because so Fox was recording an interview with juror number 15 from the first trial. After the first trial, when they were released from court, they literally had to walk right past the media staging area to get to their shuttle to the parking lot. They literally had to walk by everybody. So the media just chases them down like a horde of hounds, just chasing the jurors down. They get Carl, and I think Victoria was the one gal's name, and then Tosh. And Carl is the one that's standing by the lamppost when Fox News is rolling, or Fox, whatever the local Fox station is, the one that Justin Lum is a reporter for. They're recording,
Fox
they're rolling.
13.
Yeah, and they're rolling. And when I got back that night, and I did daily recaps with Trial TV Live, we would go back over the whole thing all over again. It usually took like 3 hours, which was nuts, but we did it anyway, 2.5 to 3 hours. I'm watching that live, and I'm like, did he just say what I thought he said? And so the next morning, I cut out a clip of what he said, and I added captions to it. And then I posted it on my channel, and I'm like, is this grounds for a retrial? Because what Carl said, juror number 15, was, so I was driving home last night. So this is the day before the verdict, before they came to a verdict. I was driving home last night and thinking about her 3 life sentences, which makes
Lord.
it sounds that he knew about her prior convictions, which they're not allowed to know about. And they swore that they didn't know about when they first accepted their jury duty. And that became a thing. And Lori actually filed a motion for a retrial, and that was one of her arguments in that. And courtroom confidential.
Let me ask you something. I remember that, and I also, they denied it. Can it go further? Can it go to another appeals court, or is that the end of it?
No, it did. It got passed off to another court that's adjacent to Judge Bresky's court. It may have been a higher court within the Superior Court. It got passed off to Judge Green, and Judge Green was like, "Nope, not having it."
So that's it.
Actually, I think the Judge Green hearing was Lori's motion to have Judge Bresky removed after Judge Bresky denied her motion for a new trial based on that as one of the arguments and a couple of other crazy arguments.
So, but we know what was said. Do you think that was the right call? Yes or no?
What was the right call?
For him to deny her a new trial based on what Carl said.
Oh no. Well, so what had to happen, and this went on behind the scenes, and Trina Kay, bless her heart, I'm mad at her for this. She sealed the entire affidavit from juror number 15, but she called him into her office and she said, we need to have a chat about this. And he filled out an affidavit, and basically what he said in that affidavit was, I misspoke to the TV cameras. I got flustered. I lost my train of thought, probably. because they were allowed the second they got released from jury duty to Google it, and somebody told them, you need to Google Lori Daybell. And so they knew, most, if not all of the jurors knew within minutes, probably before they left the courthouse, about Lori Daybell and her life sentences in Idaho. So it is very possible, and he has said multiple times, I misspoke, I didn't mean that. So you got to take one or the other.
That's the whole thing, though, about these jurors. They're just as human as we are. And that's what worries me. I did a live stream a while back where I've come down on this. I honestly, I believe a juror should be able to speak if they want to after the adjudication. The judge gives the instruction. You can talk to somebody. You don't have to talk to someone. But I would just stress in those instructions, what you say matters. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, when we got to the end of trial number 2, we're all sitting out in the media staging area and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And all of a sudden we look down the other end of the block and there's a black coach there that's pulling away with all of the jurors in it. And not a single one got pushed past the media staging area after trial number 2. So they changed the way they handled it at Maricopa County Superior Court.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad of that. But that, again, this is spilling over into other states. Donna Adelson's case in Florida, Tallahassee there, juror misconduct. Let me ask you, just an opinion. One of the jurors went on TikTok before the trial. She had been picked, and she went on her TikTok and said, I've been picked to be in this trial. She didn't say one thing or another. Was that wrong for her to do?
So I think the way that Judge Bresky handled questions like that was pretty reasonable. He would call that.
I'm talking about Donna Adelson.
Right. No, but I'm holding up Judge Bresky as a good example of how to handle a situation like that. If I were a judge, I would call that juror before me and I would say, so I see you posted this on your social media. Do you know anything about this case? Have you researched it at all since you were picked? Yes or no? And you have to trust that they're honest in that moment. And he did a few times with like questionable things that happened in that first trial with juror number 15 and juror number 14, or was it 16? Yeah, it was juror 16 who was next to him. They had a little conversation about Social Security Administration, dealing with Social Security Administration after the Inspector General for the SSA went up there and testified. And somebody reported them for having that conversation. Judge called them up before him and he said, hey, did you guys have this conversation? They both said, and he questioned them separately, and they both said it wasn't anything about the case. It was just about Carl's personal experience with the Social Security Administration. So, I mean, at some point in time, you have to trust their word that they haven't been researching it. And God forbid you should ever find out that they were. And if I were a defendant and I were found guilty and there were some questionable things like that, I'd probably hire me an investigator to dig a little deeper into it.
So with that being said, I don't know anything about what you know about the Delphi and everything. Was there any kind of jury situation in that?
There were some, the things that happened with the jury with that were about a supposed interview that one of the jurors had with a podcast, with a very well-known podcast that I'm not going to name on here. And supposedly the juror showed them notes, and you are not supposed to be able to take your trial notes with you after the trial. So there was some question about whether these were really trial notes or whether she was just writing down her own notes after the trial was over or when they were sequestered. So it couldn't have been when she got home. So there was a little question about juror notes after that. Yes.
So they were sequestered?
Yes, they were. They stayed in a hotel in Lafayette.
Don't you think that all these serious criminal high profile cases should all be sequestered? I mean, your opinion.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, what happened in Lori's trial, not just sequestered, but separated from the media and the public. This bugged the crap out of me that we were all released from lunch all at the same time, right? Judge Bresky says, okay, it's noon. We're going to take a lunch break, be back at 1:15 or whatever.
It did seem like they were really loose in Arizona. and
They
and
were.
also not giving them lunch. I mean, that forces you to
Yeah, they were given
go up.
they were given a daily stipend for their meal. So $12, I think they said, which will get you a half of a sub and a drink and a couple of other things. And they actually have good subs at the cafe there. But beside the point, you are standing in line literally with jurors sprinkled throughout the public and the media in a high profile, one of the highest profile trials in the world, and the jurors are sprinkled in line getting lunch between the media and the public, and it is a recipe for a huge potential problem in the future. I'm surprised it didn't happen here.
I have to agree with that. That has got a lot of truth to it. You really have a good head on your shoulders, Joe.
My mom used to tell me I don't have the sense God gave a wooden goose.
You're from Indiana?
Yep, that's an Indiana thing.
Okay. Well,
How
you
far?
don't sound Southern, and you don't sound from up north. So I guess you're kind of sitting on the fence of what someone would even consider someone either from the South or the North. You're kind of in the middle, huh?
Well, Joe, how far are you from Indianapolis?
I'm exactly 1 hour away from the airport.
Oh, well, I'm going to
So-
be in Indianapolis in October because that's the marching band finals or something are going to be there. So I'm gonna we'll have to meet in the middle while we're over there.
Oh no, I'll come all the way down to Indy. They have good food in Indy. I like eating down there.
That's
Well, hey Joe, before I get off here, I wanted your overall summary of what you expect at this restitution hearing, or what you would want to see, if you don't mind me asking. And then Donna, I'm going to have to bow out. I got to cook supper. I got some prime rib over here in the crock pot, and I've got to make some sides. And Joe, you're always welcome to come to Tennessee. I'll take care of you. Just give me your summary of what you think that should be done, and what your knowledge of this restitution hearing would be about.
I don't know what the details of the calculations are, but I'm sure they are specified in great detail about what they're allowed to assess to her for restitution. And whatever that calculation is, that max calculation is, I say throw that all at her, put it in her lap.
And who do you think will put money on her commissary, Joe?
Maybe whoever wants to get an exclusive interview with her.
How about Summy, Janice, Barry? Who do you think? Who do you think's going to put?
Melanie's putting some on it for her.
She's got a. Hey Joe, did you know that Lori's got a serious case of she's got to continually use that yeast infection medicine? Did you know that?
That was more than I wanted to know for the day. Thank you.
She's got to get used to life in Pocatello Women's Prison, don't you know, Joe? She's got too much moisture.
Oh, there's so many routes that I could go with that, and I have learned over my 55 years of life that silence is the better part of discretion a lot of the time.
Well, Joe, I'm 54, and I'm telling you now, Lori, she's going to know all about the hot tuna, don't you know?
Oh, my lands.
Don't you have a prime rib somewhere? Don't you have a prime rib cooking somewhere?
I got to get out of here.
Thank you so much for all the support you give Cresha.
Oh,
since
I will.
The very beginning. Thank you so much, honey.
Hey, to all those people in the comments that had to deal with old KJ, when I get off of here, I'm going to come back online, and I'm going to donate $100 to Cresha on behalf of Joe Schmo. And y'all just know that I love you. You know I do. And Donna, thank you again. And Joe, it was nice talking to you. Thank you so much for answering my questions. And With that being said, y'all, Donna, you know what I say. Keep on looking.
Very nice to meet you,
Bye.
KJ. Take care. All righty then. I don't know how to rebound from that.
Well, me either, but I do think that we probably should leave some of these things for Cresha to talk about.
Yep. Yep.
And also, I know she'll want to talk about that, but this has been fun, and it's making me think maybe I should have a panel show.
There you go.
There's certainly a lot to talk about.
There is.
All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye then, and I'm sure Cresha will schedule another one. And I want to apologize for if anybody was in the chat this morning and they just went away and poofed. I apologize. I was trying to reschedule it, but I didn't know that I was going to make it go away completely. I should have told y'all what I was doing. So we will see y'all next time. And Joe, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me up. We'll catch you on the other side.
All right. Goodbye, y'all.